Hey, it's Samantha with the Aesthetically Cannabis. Today we got Higher Scope crew.
Yes, my name is Alex.
It's your boy Kibby.
We are the Higher Scope. Thanks for having us on today.
Thank you for coming on. All right, so if you don't know who Higher Scope is, they have their own podcast on YouTube.
Yep. We're on YouTube and Instagram. We post short clips on Instagram, but most of our content you can find it on YouTube at the Higher Scope. So, yeah.
Come follow us, comment, like, subscribe. Come follow Life with the Higher Scope, where you view life through the higher lens.
Yes, sir. So, what are you smoking on today, bro?
Today I got a little mixed salad. I got some of the sour skills from the Hive Collective, picked up at Grade A, word to them. And then I also got a lot of the soap that I picked up from, that's grown by Redbird, picked up from Goodies Express, word to Goodies Express.
Yeah, shout outs to Goodies. And I rolled up a J of some Gelato 44 and a little bit of the soap from Redbird as well.
And I got some EverQuest flower, Pure Michigan.
Pure Michigan.
Yes.
I need to try them.
Well, you about to.
All right, well, let's get into it.
All right, then. So tell us, how'd y'all get started on the whole podcast thing, or where'd y'all get the idea from?
So with the podcast, it kind of originally came about because we were at the time during the pandemic.
It was pre-pandemic, like right before.
It was right before, and then the pandemic kind of helped it because we were already kind of like on some strain hunter shit. We were going around town, going to like Edmond, Moore, the South Side, wherever, for certain strains of weed, because we were like, we're big smokers from back in the day, so it'd be like,
we were
man,
weed maps,
yeah,
checking for like new flavors, and
looking for runs before runs was really popping here, and then also looking for like cat piss, like old school strains that we smoked back in the day, and then find good examples of those, and then it just became, man, because we would talk about it like food and wine in terms of describing it just in regular conversation. So we're like, man, we could do this as a review thing. And then also I was kind of watching Dr. Green Thumb, who is Be Real, big fan of him, big Cypress Hill fan. And so from that, I'm like, man, they don't do reviews, but it's a podcast, and I see how well they do with it. I'm like, man, we could do that. Yeah. But here, because I see a lot of the podcast stuff popping in California, people I follow at Cannabis Chris, Dope as Yola, Mr. THC, a few of them. And then just like, man, there's none of that here, at least not yet. So let's jump on it. And, you know, we all love weed, first and foremost.
Yeah, so essentially we started off just doing like he said, just doing reviews and stuff, kind of showing love to whoever it is, the cultivator is, and the dispo we get it from. And eventually we ended up getting to like, we just dabbled into like interviews, kind of like this, and we just one day who was our first interview? Dave? No, it was Dave from 710.
Right, no, our first interview was fucking...
It was Dave from 710.
We're just 710 Factory. I'm sorry, I'm hot.
Yeah. So it was, our first interviewer was Dave from 710. We appreciate you for, giving us that opportunity, kind of popping our cherry in the industry.
Give us that opportunity.
Yeah, and once kind of we got the feel of like, interviewing people, we kind of just dabbled in both. Like we steady do our reviews and stuff, try new places, new strains that come and hit the market, but for the most part, like, man, it's just been fun since we started. Interviews are my favorite all the time. That's like something I'm always focused on, is trying to get like new special guests, new somewhere that like that's not affiliated with other, like all these other brands that we've been, interviewing and stuff like that. But it's kind of a challenge, but at the same time, it is super rewarding. It's very fun meeting, all different walks of life and getting them on camera and kind of just like relating with everyone, whoever we get on the podcast. So yeah, that's pretty much how we got going as a Higher Scope.
Gotcha. So y'all been doing it for like pre-pandemic, and then how, like, what episode are y'all on, or like what season are y'all on now?
So we are 3 seasons in.
10 episodes in.
I want to say 9 or 10 episodes in, yeah, like you're saying. Season 2, I think we ended off with maybe 12 episodes.
That's the number, is 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's the golden number for our seasons. We do 12 episode seasons. Take a quick little 2-3 week break, and then we can jump back in it.
Nah, more than 2 weeks. Like 2 months at least. The last break we took.
That was more stall. We were trying to take a 3-week break, it just got kind of stalled out on some other shit. But
So generally, when we jump into a new season, we're trying to like innovate into like a new type of format. So that's kind of like the whole season thing. Like, so now like we're doing our mobile interviews with people. We have our own studio now, which, depending, we just try to get one person in for our studio. But we do travel around and do like, we set up mobile like for other people. So
if y'all have a place you want us to pull up at, a facility, a venue, a lounge, anywhere for interviews, or have suggestions for that, by all means, slide those suggestions in.
what'd you say this one is?
Michigan? Pure Michigan, yeah.
Pure Michigan.
So do y'all do the seasons so y'all can change it up a bit or just have a break?
It's to kind of take a breather.
Definitely to change up.
But definitely to change up the environment for sure.
Change up, like, well, okay. It's also a kind of good idea, like, all right, we've done X, Y, and Z. It's also like kind of really do a kind of collection. Oh, yeah, my bad. It's really the. Oh.
Gotcha.
It's really just kind of do a recap on ourselves, kind of recollect, review the season. What did we do? What did we like? What did we not like? What could we do better? All those things. And then also, and really a big focus is definitely like, okay, what can we come up with next? What's some different type of content we could add into the season? Stuff like that. And, we have some stuff that we kind of already have planned for the next season. But again, it's like once we finish this out, we're going to kind of do a little different things, and also, of course, focus just on tapping in with more people across the state. I mean, there's so many in the city, but
because we've been doing primarily like just OKC. Like,
exactly.
Like
yeah.
Eventually, we want to make our way out to Tulsa, make our way out to like all these places are at least like an hour like radius from
Enid. I don't know any other places. Ardmore.
what I mean. Far from the OKC.
Far from our cityscape.
Yeah. But so far, we love it. Everyone we've interacted with, they showed us love. We kind of
everyone's super nice.
Show that energy right back to them.
Everyone's been good about just being reciprocative of good energy, positive energy, and they're always just like more than welcoming. Every time we go to a facility, anytime we meet someone, super welcoming.
Yeah, so we just finished up our latest episode that we got our editor working on right now / cameraman Christian. Shout out to Christian. YBF. We just got through doing like a tour of Zenoa Cannabis grow, and did an interview with Dave.
Do they grow the like cookie strain, right? A couple cookie strains?
That's all.
Really just one.
Altum
grows cookies.
Yeah, it's Altum is primarily.
But no, they do the Gary.
Okay.
They do an amazing Gary, by the way.
Yeah, they got some phenomenal strains over there. One is a staple of the Donkey Butter number 9.
And the Al Rose, whichever number, they're all phenomenal. I mean, there's multiple numbers. Death Toast,
Cushmint's.
The Cushmint's is crazy.
Mandarin Orange.
No, Mandarin Cookies.
That one. We always get that confused. Sorry.
Mandarina.
Mm-hmm.
Pásame fuego.
There you go.
Gracias.
Yes, sir.
So, what do y'all expect to do differently this upcoming season?
More interviews. More interviews, new environments, essentially is what like most of these next seasons are coming up on. So we're 2 years in. I still feel like we're babies in the game. Yeah. We're still just spreading our legs out in the industry. But I mean, we go to the events. It's a ball whenever we go. It's kind of just like
so fun.
It's like, hey, what's up? Saying what's up to everyone in the industry and meeting more people and stuff like that. That's the. I'm a real people person, so like I love to fucking just go out and get to these events and network and just chop it up. And just connect from this main basis of marijuana, the plant. It's all about the plant at the end of the day.
Yeah. So how do y'all know each other?
Okay, so how long have I known you? Here, go ahead, go and grab that one.
Shit. Which one? I mean, technically.
Okay, long story short, he was friends with my current girlfriend now, and he eventually started hanging out with different people. Those people knew me. It was just a mutual,
Oklahoma City's small. It was through a childhood friend of mine. Word to T. Kelly. What's up, Lo?
Yeah, back in the day, like the weed game here compared to the legal game now was like, it was a totally different world. So like, of course, like, potheads stuck with potheads. You know what I'm saying? Like, the stigma was so hard that, if you were smoking weed out here, like, you were connected to pretty much everyone else that in those circles. You were just outed for being a pothead back then. Like, it was
too many plugs. There was only a few people really supplying most of the weight in the city at that time. So it all led back to a few people, and it's just weird. Some of the people that he was fucking with, I knew other people that was fucking with on a personal note, people from high school and shit. And it's just like, again, Oklahoma City's small.
Well, yeah, just coming up on that scene, me and him connected in that way through mutual people, pretty much.
I was buying weed from him, don't lie.
I'm not gonna confirm that. Yeah.
Man, set your limitations.
No comment. That's fine. But yeah, back in the day, that's pretty much what was going on. We was running around smoking a lot of weed, just some youngins. Now we're older, we're grown, we got our lives going, but we still connect, to the core with marijuana.
To the planta.
We're pure patients when it comes down to it. So, it was only right. He's a whiz on the genetics side of our podcast. Me, I'm more of the chill, laid back, calm, collective kind of guy. But I definitely commend him for being on his genetics game and kind of knowing his shit on that end. He carries the weight on that end. So
gracias. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
We've known each other for over a decade for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like I said, we just decided to do this. Like, this is one thing we love more than anything. I don't think we'll ever see ourselves like getting rid of or leaving, Mary Jane out of our lives. It's here to stay. So
for sure,
where we connect to.
Yeah, it was just kind of a crazy thing. We met through weed, and then really we got really cool off of a really high ass conversation through a mutual homegirl of ours. We were buying weed, and he pulled up on us, and we were smoking at down by Madison, which is torn down now. But if you know where Madison used to be, we were smoking weed there, and we had some high ass conversation, and we just we're like, yo, we recognize that we're pretty similar. And just became cool, and then it was on after that. And then we had a lot of similar friends and shit. Like our producer, I had kind of met him very briefly back in high school because he went to O. But he and him were already cool. Like, they'd been cool for a minute.
Yeah, and me and him, we had another friend that was involved with it for a little bit, but he kind of did his thing and just kind of let us rock by ourselves.
Yeah, he's got he has other ambitions. Like, he's other ambitions. Yeah, so he's more into other stuff.
And so Frankie, Frankie, shout out to Frankie 405.
Frankie Montana.
He's our producer. He makes tons of beats, some amazing beats. Actually, he makes the original music on our podcast. So if y'all ever need some original beats and stuff, you should hit him up. And just slowly implemented him to the crew. He's he makes sure our sound's good, mic's good. He follows up with people that we need to get in contact with.
He's great at critiquing. He definitely helps us get with the finer points.
Yeah, keeps that outside view for us.
Keeps us on point.
Yeah, keeps us on point for sure. And then Christian, cameraman / editor. So it's
also keeps us on point.
Yeah, we got a pretty.
It's a team. It's a team.
We're a strong team. We got sure. Everyone plays their role here. So yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So y'all said y'all go to a couple or a lot of events here in the city, like for the cannabis industry.
For the most part, we try to. There's always multiple events.
There's always too many to catch.
Exactly. There's tons of events going at the same time. Like, I know this weekend's gonna be hectic. All next week is going to be hectic. So it's kind of, you just kind of have to choose which one you want to give your time to for the most part.
Which we're giving our time to on Saturday. The Lowrider Show at Oklahoma Kush. Word to Oklahoma Kush. Y'all need to pull up for that.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I'm pretty sure when this airs, it's tomorrow, so.
Still.
Well, hopefully we see you up there. Or you show up.
Or we saw you.
that one.
You're seeing this in the future.
But yeah, the sesh, Charlie's events for the most part. We try to make most of the mainstream ones and then slowly trickle off to like meeting, all these other brands that we kind of haven't seen from the previous ones, eventually make those connections. It takes a while. It takes a while to, follow up and make time for all different types of people. It's just crazy, but we're finding our balance.
So by going to these events, has the networking helped to bring on guests onto your show and make connections and all that?
Most definitely is absolutely helped us, because that's really where it came from. I would say like a big part of it came from us started going to the sesh and meeting people like Alton. And then they met Zenoa later, and then just a lot of different people. Honestly, it's been more people than I can remember. Also, because I'm super stoned when I'm doing it, like stupid stoned. So it's really hard to remember.
For the most part, I'm like, there's a game plan. It's like, don't get too high because we need to converse a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
The first couple ones, we were doing too much.
You can go in there and like you'll be turned upside down if you don't pay attention. There's just so much weed and there's so much smoke going on.
It's just easier now to turn down that flower.
It's really hard to be like, oh, I'm good.
No, what it is the flower is easy for me. It's when I do the dabs and they fuck you on the dabs. They just slab you up and you just globbed and just you're dazed and confused for real. But it's funny because I can kind of bounce back, but I like to watch my fellow castmates, just get crazy off the fucking dabs.
Yeah, and again, like just conversing with everyone, I gotta make sure I'm sober and straight. But after I get made my rounds, like the shades come on, that means I'm not here anymore.
What's your shades today?
I'm always forgetting them. Shit. If I do bring them, then I'm fucking ready for sure.
You ain't ready. You ain't got your lokes.
I got them today. Raw dogging it.
Raw dog.
Who's your favorite guest I had on?
Damn. So far, it's hard to say.
They're all really different experiences, honestly. Like, for instance, like the Ultimate interview was really tight because we brought them to the homies tattoo shop over here on 23rd and Villa, Twisted Minds tattoo shop.
Yeah, that was an awesome collab. It was like having that as like the studio format, the tattoo shop with the boys in there. Shout outs to Dave and Spence. It was a great interview. That's one thing we love about just having our own podcast is we can do it how we want to, and to be honest, we try to think in terms of like who's watching us. Like you're gonna enjoy like this, these episodes that we try to bring out for the people. So
what is your target audience?
The whole community, honestly. We want to appeal to everybody. Like, everyone from women, just the general stoner, the high school stoner,
men, women, whoever,
the college stoner, the hood stoner.
We want to relate to pretty much anyone in the cannabis community, whether it is you like glass, like art pieces, you like pendants, glass pieces, dabs, flower. There's just so many different avenues of like where we can connect on this podcast as far in the community. Like, we don't even want to just do like people that are in the community. It's like patients that are business owners as well, like get their perspective, like not necessarily having like a foot money wise in the industry, but as just a consumer, you know what I mean? That's eventually we'll start, branching off into those avenues, but there's only so much time, to pump out. There's tons of ideas for content, but only such little time for it. So
I know you want to target everyone, but have you noticed a trend of who's actually following you?
For sure, it's definitely males. It's definitely we do have a decent following of women, but I'd like it to be more diverse personally. So
it's great when you see a male podcast can pull half and half of the but. We're working on that end. We're trying to make it appealing for women too. Like, shout outs to you. You're our first to bring us on to a female podcast, and
podcast period. So that's
podcast
just
period.
Lit.
Not even female, just
right
podcast
now.
Period. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate y'all coming on. As we're a minority. I'm a minority in so many things, but so are y'all. And there's not a lot of us that are in the face of it all right now. It's all white faces now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good to get a little diversity in the mix. You know what I'm saying? We got
side note.
We all have
I'm getting tan.
We all have good perspectives to bring to the market. So, you know what I'm saying? We just focus on what we do. You know what I'm saying? There's no hate involved. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? We're here to uplift whoever it is we come in contact with. That's just how we want to move as a collective.
That we also really want to represent our communities that we come from, that we represent respectively, which, you know, like me being mixed, I grew up more with my mom's side, so that's where I kind of get more of the estilo from. So with that being said, we're all de sabor, ya tú sabes, de sabor cubano, pero with that being said, you know, there's not, like you said, there's not a lot of people representing for like a real heavy Latino presence in the community. And, I just feel like, I mean, not even just our presence, you know, be a black presence, Asian presence, just, you know, we want to put our spin on things in kind of our perspective. Like, I would like, you know, to see maybe even certain flavors. Like, I mean, yeah, there's horchata and there's churros, but more flavors, piña loca. Yeah, but like some of that kind of like I guess the branding of it, some of more catered to us. Like, I think that would be tight.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, there's a brand out in California real famous called Backpack Boys, and they have a strain called Pemex, which is like the gas in Mexico, and it's got like the gas station style logo on the bag. It's sick. And I was like, that's tight.
Yeah, I have to follow them on Insta.
Exactly. So you already know. So like, but like some of their stuff, it's like you could tell they have like one of their founding members, I'm straight, is Latino. So like that's where some of that inspiration is coming from. And I'm like, okay. And I like how they implement that. So I think it'd be cool for more of, you know, us to be in there to implement that within our space of Oklahoma.
For sure. And it sounds like from like the podcast you already listened to, it's already that minority based, you know? And
yeah.
Which is good, and there's definitely a market for it, because hello, we're them.
Exactly.
We're definitely putting the footprints and foundation down for like the future. We're still in like the beginning phases of like becoming medical, so you know, I'm happy to be here, you know, in the beginning and kind of watch it grow from like the inside out.
Definitely. So, you know how you were talking about the negative stereotype when you were younger about the whole pothead thing?
Yeah. Pinche marijuana.
Have your parents been always against, you know, marijuana, and now that you are like have this cannabis podcast, what do they think about it? And is there still a negative stereotype onto that, if there was one?
I'll go first.
You go first.
Put this out. Okay. So growing up, I tried cannabis for the first time when I was obviously a young teenager. Like I was, I think, 16 when I really started, you know, getting into it. Obviously, like in the Latino community, it's just like super, super frowned upon for the longest part. Like, you know what I'm saying? You pretty much like are a fuck up in their eyes, like being a marihuano, as they would say, pinche marihuano. So, but compared to then and now, you know, my mom was very against it, like, bad. I mean, long story short, she called me one day, said she found my weed while I was at work, and she flushed it down the toilet, and it was horrible.
Was it Reggie, or was it Mids?
It was Reggie. That's how early this time was. And she was, in hindsight.
From the Mexican brick weed. That we all
that's what it was around back then. That was like damn near like
the Fire Reggie. Back when there was Fire Reggie. There was Fire Reggie.
That was like 13. That was like 13, 14 years ago for me. So
that's the Reggie without migraine. That's the Fire Reggie. You just smoke it and you just come down and go to sleep.
But yeah, the stereotype toward like the stigma towards cannabis to now is like my mom actually, like, you know, I get her stuff for her, you know, joints and stuff like that, like creams, good creams and stuff. And now she's like, she encourages it. She understands, like, you know, what the plant was here for and what its true, you know, intent and use for humans. Like, it's for us, you know what I'm saying, and it's a blessing. So her perspective from then and now is just, I'm very thankful for it, and things are a lot better now because of it, and destigmatizing it.
For me, it's similar. My mom being Cuban, she's just super against this kind of stereotypical Latina-ness, and she's just like, oh, any type of drug except for cigarettes and alcohol. But that's fine. But no, like, she kicked me out a few times for it. Like, it was bad. Like, it was bad.
Same.
So yeah, it was pretty bad. But then, like, honestly, it was like after a while, just going through some things. Honestly, like me personally going through like some bad drug addiction with Xanax. And kind of like trying to get my shit right with her. She was like, you know what, I'll allow it because it's not that bad. And ironically, I find out later she smoked in high school. She's pretty much smoked up until she got pregnant, and then it became bad.
She was involved in it, but like was ashamed. Like this heavy stigma attached to it.
No, my dad though, he used to smoke weed when he was a kid. He's never been a huge smoker, but he would smoke weed. And then like my grandpa smokes weed. He's always smoked weed. So my dad's got a different attitude towards it. He's not like, just be careful, be responsible with it, don't get crazy. And my dad's always been cool about it.
So how we're talking about the negative background towards like our parents had towards cannabis, but it's kind of like you can't blame them just because for them growing up that negative stereotype really affected their lives. You do not want to be considered somebody who's doing something with criminal activity. You already have a target on your back for the color of your skin, and for adding now you're a drug dealer or you're a drug addict, it's just even more negative stereotype to yourself and your community.
Yeah, it was a huge like assumption of character. Like if you were tied to any type of like marijuana stuff, like it just labeled you as like a fucking, lazy, unproductive, good for nothing, just whatever, negative. All this pinche marihuana, like you said. Yeah, our parents were definitely programmed a certain way to view, cannabis, but it's not their fault, and obviously we're above that and we acknowledge that, so it's not to carry on we just heal, forgive, and it is what it is, and now we're in a totally different space now with cannabis, especially with our elders now. There's a lot of acceptance in the Latino community now, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in my life, for sure.
My mom, so outside, she ended up smoking weed again a little bit, just kind of recreationally. But then what she ended up happening is she eventually caught cancer. She caught ovarian cancer. And from there, it helped her with her chemo. Honestly, she ended up having chemo. And so I was getting her like RSO pills, Rick Simpson oil, and giving her certain weeds that like were higher in THC because those help combat cancer, the THC, the higher THC ones, and it helped her a lot. It helped her with the pain. I made sure she went on the perks because they prescribed her perks, and I'm like, I'd already been through my drug addictions. I'm like, I'm not finna risk you doing this. Like, you don't know what this finna do. These are too fun for you. You need to smoke this weed, sit down, smoke this weed, and watch this movie.
Plant versus like.
Oh yeah. But my mom was kind of hippie. She's all about anything that's all natural anyways, kind of how she raised me. Yes, and like I drink wheatgrass once or twice a week. Prefer smoothies sometimes over like burgers and food and shit, like, or just fruits and vegetables, stuff like that. But no, yeah. So I think with my family, it's been broken. Like my grandma, she doesn't smoke. She's definitely way more old school, mi abuelita, and she's more cool with it. Like I can smoke in front of her, and she's not tripping. It's not weird. My mom smokes in front of her a little bit. She doesn't necessarily like it like that, but she sees how it doesn't really affect us or changes us people. Like, I act the same. My mom acts the same. It's not like, oh my goodness, you're a different person. You act crazy. Like when you drink, you can be a different person. You know what I mean? Some people can act different, be more aggressive, sad, whatever. When you smoke weed, you might get giggles. You might get sleepy. I mean, that's the worst of it. You might get lazy. You might get lazy that day and just be good for nothing, low key, and just fade out on the couch. But no, it's been good for me with my family. My dad's been way more chill with it, and he always has been, so it's never been issues with him. And they're cool with the podcast because it's like being productive with that. It's taking it and doing something a little bit more with the elevating that.
Yeah, but more so my family, whenever like we have family reunions now. So majority of our family, Texas, here, Oklahoma, we'll get together, and it'll be a lot of us, like a couple hundred of us, like at a time. And now it's like certain parts of different, like cousins, uncles, elders, like we'll actually all get together in like our little smoke circle.
Yeah. And
like just like vibe out with each other. And I never thought I would ever even experience that, like with like, let alone my immediate family, but like my distant family too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's beautiful to see like just the shift in like perspective on what cannabis is now.
And creating a different connection with your family too. I think
Very
I've noticed
deep,
that too.
deeper
like,
connection.
You can talk about things a little bit more freely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel
breaks down the wall.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I feel like smoking flower alone with yourself, opens your mind and kind of get to listen to other people's opinions about like cutting them off and just saying your opinion. Just listen.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, you don't have to agree with it, but you listen, and that's what's important.
Just be more in the present moment.
Yeah.
With the people you care about and stuff.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, I love it. So, yeah, overall, we love the shift. I love the, the acceptance. It's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy the negative attitude our parents had, and now it's like changing that. But you can't blame them, or for their thought process about it before. There's a reason for that.
Deep reason.
I do want to say one thing though. I do kind of miss the edginess it had when it did have the back stigma. Someone's got to be that guy. I got a black hat on. So, but honestly though, it was kind of a little bit more fun then. It honestly was. There's a little, now it's super PG. Moms, grandmas, aunts, everyone's smoking the weed, got little gummies in their closet.
Right now.
Exactly, but at the same time, I kind of liked it when it was a little bit more edgy, like.
And they were remarkable though. Like, everyone has some different reason why they take the plant and medicine.
And I think it also helps that there's different forms, and people might be more likely to smoke weed because they might get introduced through lotions. Like, oh, I might be likely because they put it on, like, oh, it helps my arthritis, blah blah blah. I might take a hit, just to see because it makes me feel like this on my body. You know what I mean? And then they take it, they're like, oh, it's not so bad. And they may not be a smoker, but after that they might get their little pipe and keep a little Grammy.
Let's keep a little eighth for the week.
Or Grammy Award winner in the closet. Tenchi. One hitter.
Yeah, I feel like definitely being medical legalized here in Oklahoma, it kind of makes you appreciate the flower too even more. Like, there's a big appreciation of what you're actually like seeing somebody else grow. That's why I built personally connections with these growers, because you get to hear how they, like, their experience throughout life, and then their experience of growing the flower, and how just like in tune and in love they are with growing this, and not just for themselves in their hobby or career, but actually for patients, for other people to enjoy. You're spreading positivity that way.
They try to mimic the same feeling they get from growing and experiencing their own cannabis, and try to mimic that with the patient, like the patient to feel that experience. Essentially is what, good growers, like, that should be their goal, I mean, money is a byproduct of it, so I respect those that put the love and the time into it.
If you do anything well, if you do anything really well, you'll get paid for it, regardless. It's always a byproduct.
Yeah.
If you're chasing, like, greatness, the money is a byproduct. And that's
always a byproduct.
Because usually when it comes in abundance, when you're not chasing it, you're just chasing the goal of being better.
Thank you so much, Higher Scope, Alex and Kibby, for coming out and, speaking and, letting us know what you think about the cannabis, and letting us know about your podcast as well.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us on. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on Aesthetically Cannabis. See, I'm so high. Dyslexia is kicking in heavy. But no, it's been wonderful having us at your studio. Beautiful studio, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're here to watch you grow in your future endeavors as well. Appreciate you for having us on. And guys, if you want to check us out on IG at the Higher Scope, we leave a lot of clips there. But go ahead and follow that YouTube and subscribe, please. Drop some comments. Check out the videos. All the full episodes are on YouTube. So, yeah, appreciate you for having us. And I guess that's it.
All right, thank you for watching. And before we go, shout out to Hefis Dispensary down on 29th and Western, right?
Shout out to
29th and Western.
29th and Western.
24 hours.
24 hours.
24 hours, yeah.
Go check them out.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.